And get started for this second meeting of the House Budget Review Subcommittee on General Government. And we'll go ahead and ask everyone to please silence your cell phones, and I'll have to do that myself. And we'll go ahead and ask the secretary to call the roll, and that shouldn't take too long.
Representative Watkins, Representative Bowling, Representative Bray, Representative Petrie, Representative Flannery, Representative Hale, Representative Hart,
Here.
and Chair Freeland.
Present. All right, thank you. And we do have our guest this afternoon, and we're proud to have with us the Commissioner of Agriculture, and Jonathan Schell. So it's an honor to have you here, sir. And I do want to, Representative Hart has asked me to relinquish the chair for a moment to swear you in. He's asked
I wanted to have the
permission
honor to
do
swear
that.
you in. So would you please raise your right hand, sir? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. Please identify yourself for the record.
I am Commissioner of Agriculture Jonathan Schell.
All right, thank you, sir. And just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about your office and as it relates to the budget that was just passed this last year, and any needs that you see for the next budget. So
Yep.
I'll give you the floor.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Hart. Thank you all for allowing me to be here today to talk about the good work that you all have done. And that is exactly what I would call this budget that you all passed last year. And I know that in the coming budget session, that's exactly what you're going to do again. I want to put a few highlights together of some of the things that I think I'm most proud of the investments that you all have made. Our Farms to Food Bank funds and the program that you all have put together there in fiscal year 25. This year, there was $850,000. For next year, fiscal year 2026, $1 million. Those funds are extremely important. Not just to the folks in the state of Kentucky that need those services, especially a lot of our seniors. That's one thing that people don't realize is that a lot of the folks that utilize our food banks in the state of Kentucky are over 65. But it also helps our farmers with being able to sell products to them, to be able to give them away, those kind of things, and how those transactions work. But it's been very, very good. Another fund that I'd like to express is our county fair grant funds. As many of you all know, we have a lot of issues in the state of Kentucky where fairs have kind of gone down depending on what community that you're in. We've got a lot of great ones that are there, but a lot of the issues that they have is around infrastructure, whether it be electrical infrastructure, actual infrastructure on the properties, things to be able to engage the community in. And you all increased that by $250,000 this last year, and we were able to fund 9 county projects, and that is a record amount of projects that we were able to fund this last year. And we're extremely proud of those grants that were given out and the work that these local county fair committees are doing. You also put $1 million of funds into the Kentucky Rural Mental Health, Suicide Prevention, and Farm Safety Program that we call Raising Hope. And because of that and the work that they are doing, I'll give you one, for instance, in Owensboro at the Ag Expo. Because of the work and the monies that you all spent there, we actually were able to send 14 individuals to the hospital directly because of health issues that were identified during those health checkups. What we're doing is getting to folks, and especially our farmers in rural communities, that likely they don't go to the doctor until they're in really bad shape and about to die or something's really going on. And so this allows for us to have these local clinics and checkups in more areas to meet them where they are, and you're truly saving lives with the monies that you all are putting in. Those individuals, it's not untelling what would have happened to them if we were not able to identify their blood pressure, their A1Cs, all the things that we do along with that. And so truly you all are saving lives with the money that you put into the Raising Hope program. Another thing that I think is extremely important and relevant right now because of egg prices and what's happening with the bird flu is the funds that you all put in for the Division of Emergency Preparedness and Response are effective and they're working. As of right now, we have no commercial herds or backyard herds of birds that have been affected by the bird flu. We've had some wild geese coming through Kentucky that we've identified with the AI, but that hasn't affected our commercial herds or backyard herds or the herds in Kentucky, the flocks in Kentucky. I keep saying herds, apologize. The flocks in Kentucky to where that we've had any issues from an emergency response. But because of the monies that you all put in that division that we have now, we've identified and we have a plan of action. If something were to happen, there's no question that we would be able to quarantine, get people back to a position where that they could be making money again, and we could resolve that quickly. I would like to also point out that our new Secretary of Agriculture has just identified and put out a plan that I think is going to be very effective. It was a quick response, and I think a positive step in fixing the issue of the high egg prices, and what I would say is making groceries great again is what they're trying to accomplish on the federal level. They've put $500 million for farm biosecurity across the nation. They've put $400 million towards farmer relief from indemnities from having to depopulate certain farms whenever it arises. $100 million towards research and development, towards therapeutics and other things to be able to help with illness in the future. Monies towards cutting red tape and costly regulations, and then opening and allowing for safe imports from countries that we want to do business with in order to get eggs in here quickly so that we can lower the prices as fast as we possibly can. I would predict that within the next 2 to 3 months that you'll see a very big impact around egg prices in America because of the actions that Secretary Rollins and President Trump have taken. Another thing that you all have done that we need to codify this session is Senate Bill 28. We have that is the sport legislation to put the framework around our economic development monies that you all allowed to put in last session. And we have House Joint Resolution 371, which allows us to actually retain and receive that monies of that $5 million so that we can work on ag economic development in rural Kentucky in conjunction with the Economic Development Cabinet to try and attract processors, end users, and large-scale operations to fill gaps in marketing and infrastructure across the state in all commodities for Kentucky. The last thing that I would like to do is talk to you about a budget request that we'll be working with you all on for next session, is around support for our staff recruitment and retention efforts. We desperately need to look at that in the Department of Agriculture to bring us up to par with other agencies. We have a lot of them that we just quite can't get to the point of being able to retain and recruit the employees that we need at this point. We have a lot of turnover that's happening because of that. It's not they're wanting to leave because they don't like their job. It's they're leaving because they have better opportunities in other areas of state government, not even in the private sector, but other areas of state government because we can't be as competitive at the Department of Agriculture. And the last thing is around continued support for our agriculture economic development as we see results come this year from the work that you all have done. And again, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say how grateful I am for the work that you all have done and to look forward to continued work in this next budget.
And thank you, Commissioner, and I appreciate the work you're doing and your department is doing. And you mentioned the ag economic development, and I appreciate that because that sometimes gets overlooked as ag as economic development.
Yes,
and
sir.
I know that's something that you're focusing on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, Representative, you got any questions?
This is not necessarily all, in relation to your budgetary request, but since you're in front of me, I wanted to ask. I know you all have an emergency response with natural disasters and stuff. I was just wondering, with all the recent flooding and stuff, how's your agency? Do you have the funding and the resources to meet the need that you're being met with, or
Yep.
is that something that we could look at as well?
Absolutely. So in our division, there isn't a need for monies for relief necessarily directly from us because that will come from federal agencies and state agencies that deal in that relief directly. What we do is we put together response plans in order to help people get saved and rescued and those kind of things up front. We've got those that we're working with the emergency response teams at the state level, and then also putting together in the agriculture space the needs that are out there so that we can send those to places to be able to get that relief in from funding, grants, federal monies, those kind of things, and identifying the farmers that have lost hay, for instance, in eastern Kentucky where it's washed out their entire hay crops, but they still have cattle they've got to feed for the rest of the year. And then also identifying the number that we have in loss of yields or products that would be there. Fortunately, right now with the flooding that happened in eastern Kentucky, nothing's in the field. There's no harvest going on. There's no planting being there. And so the economic impact is lower than it would be if we were 2 months from now or 3, 4, 5 months from now during seasons being actually having there. As of right now, we do have farmers that are affected, but it's mainly around the hay needs for our cattle industry, horse industry, and other livestock that's there.
So, and you all have been able to meet their needs as of yet?
Yeah, we're working on that with the Cattlemen's Association. We're working on that with UK Extension in order to help find those farmers and to get that hay. And most of it is and I'll just want to take a moment to brag on our community and agriculture that when a natural disaster or something happens in this magnitude, donations flood in. And whether it's around fencing donations or whether it's around hay donations or other things, our farmers are always ready at the moment's notice in order to donate so that our farmers that are impacted by this can get back to work quicker.
Great. Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
We saw that during the tornado in West Kentucky. Had farmers from other states bringing in hay, and it was nice to see. I hope we paid back whenever other disasters happen in other states. So nice to see. It's community takes care of each other. But anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir. I appreciate you all allowing me to be here today to talk about the great work that you all are doing, that we're implementing at the Department of Agriculture, and look forward to working with you all for next session.
All right. Well, I appreciate the visit. I know you've got another appointment, so I appreciate you fitting us in and appreciate the visit.
Yep. Thank you.
Again. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, that will do it for this meeting, and we'll have our next scheduled meeting, I think, next Thursday. So until then, we'll adjourn.